Welcome to my channel Manor Studios, and thanks for watching. For more original content and lore, please like and subscribe. The Boy Who Would Be King by Kevin L. Massey II. Before history, when the world had no name and the sky was a canvas of eternal twilight, humanity struggled to survive. This was a primordial era, a time when beasts and foul demonic entities ruled the land. The earth was a place of nightmares haunted by horrors from the void beyond. In this bleak world, humanity was weak and fearful, a fragile species overshadowed by famine and the constant threat of monstrous creatures that prowled the land. Among these people was a boy who knew only hardship. Born into squalor, he toiled under the harsh rays of the trison, a sun so unforgiving it cracked the earth beneath it. His days were filled with labor and his nights with hunger. On one fateful evening, as the boy searched desperately for food, he was suddenly chased by a monstrous creature, a savage, hungry demon whose eyes burned with a fierce, insatiable hunger. The boy ran for his life, but the demon was fast, closing in with every stride. As he sprinted through the forest, fear gripping his heart, the boy stumbled upon a stone and tumbled into a dark, unknown cave. Bruised and bleeding, he slowly regained his senses and noticed a strange altar before him. Upon this altar lay an artifact, something he had never seen before, a relic of mysterious power. As the boy's blood dripped onto the altar from his injured hand, the relic began to hum, resonating with a dark energy. From the shadows, a golden skull appeared, glowing with an ominous light. The skull spoke in a voice that dripped with malice and ancient power. "Why have you freed me? You are vile, weak little creature," the skull hissed. "You smell of fear and desperation. I grant you one wish, but know this. What I give, I also take." Without a moment's hesitation, the boy, his heart filled with fear and ambition, wished to become a king, a ruler of the land, feared by all. He wished for the power to slay the beasts that infested the earth and the void between worlds. The golden skull laughed, its hollow eyes gleaming with wicked delight. "Is that all?" it sneered. The boy, caught between amazement and terror, nodded. But before he could speak again, the skull continued. "Your wish is granted, but know this. Your descendants shall never know love or peace. They shall be feared and hated, powerful yet weak, both predator and prey. They will be mine, my magnificent children of death. I shall return in 1,000 years under the light of a blood moon to collect what is owed." With those words, the golden skull vanished, leaving behind a simple yet elegant golden spear, glowing with a dark essence. The boy, now transformed by the skull's dark power, took up the spear. In that moment he became something more than human. When the demon that had chased him into the cave appeared at the entrance, the boy hurled the spear with such force that it created a thunderous boom, shattering the air around it. The spear struck the demon, killing it instantly and vanishing into the void. Years passed, and the boy mastered the golden spear, honing his newfound abilities. He renamed himself the Crimson Lord, and with his spear in hand, he became a fearsome warlord. He slaughtered monsters and men alike, his heart growing darker with every life he took. As his legend grew, so did his power. He moved with the speed of light, his spear craving blood as much as he did. Eventually, the boy who would be king became known as the Crimson King, a ruthless conqueror who ruled the world he had named Cleves. The land of the butcher, a kingdom of blood and war. But the Crimson King never forgot his pledge to the Golden Skull. As centuries passed and his empire grew, the king became increasingly paranoid. He ordered the execution of all his descendants in a desperate attempt to outwit the ancient deity to whom he had once so foolishly bound himself. As the time of the skull's return drew near, the king realized that his efforts were in vain. The prophecy would come to pass, and the blood moon would soon rise. In preparation for the coming of the Golden Skull, the Crimson King raised the largest army the world had ever seen. Men and beasts, numbering in the millions, perhaps even billions, stood ready to defend their king. But the Crimson King wanted more than just an army. He wanted godhood. He sought ancient knowledge, desperate to find a way to stop the inevitable debt collection. His search led him to an ancient city, long forgotten, where a cathedral of the gods lay hidden. It was said that within this cathedral, a weapon of unimaginable power, a god-killer, was concealed. The king believed that with this weapon he could defeat the Golden Skull, and so, accompanied by his most loyal knights, the king set out on a perilous quest to claim the weapon. Upon reaching the cathedral, the Crimson King offered his golden spear as a sacrifice, hoping to gain the power he sought. As he completed the ritual, a deity appeared before him. Not a skull, but a beautiful goddess. She looked upon the spear and said, "This weapon is rife with blood and death. What is it you desire?" The king, his voice filled with desperation, replied, "I seek a weapon to defeat the Golden Skull, the being to whom I sealed my fate as a foolish boy." The goddess laughed, a sound both enchanting and cruel. "Perhaps it is your destiny to bear this burden," she said, her voice soft yet powerful. Enraged, the king attempted to strike the goddess with his spear, but she was too quick, too powerful. She crippled him with ease, leaving him broken and defeated, a feeling he had not known in centuries. But as he lay on the ground, the king told the goddess of his curse, and she, moved by his plight, took pity on him. The goddess, seeing the man suffering and the weight of his curse, fell in love with the wounded king. For a century, day turned to night as they remained together, but as the time of the Golden Skull's return drew near, the king's anxiety grew. In that time the goddess bore him a son, a child born of divine and mortal blood, marked by the curse, but glowing with the potential for greatness. Knowing her time in the mortal realm was coming to an end, the goddess used the last of her power to entrap the essence of the cathedral within a cane for the crippled king. The cane burned as brightly as a phoenix star, imbued with the divine power of the goddess. As the Golden Skull approached, the Crimson King prepared for the final battle. His hatred for the skull knew no bounds, and with his divine cane in hand and the love of the goddess in his heart, he stood ready to defy his fate. But even as he raised his crimson banners and rallied his vast army, the king knew that the debt must be paid, and the curse must be fulfilled. Yet with his son by his side, a boy born of both the divine and the cursed, the Crimson King dared to hope that perhaps destiny could be challenged, and the cycle of blood and death could finally be broken. The hatred of the king was boundless, but so too was the love he had discovered too late. And so, as the blood moon bathed the land of Cleves in its eerie glow, the Crimson King faced the Golden Skull, knowing that whatever the outcome, the world would never be the same again.